Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well so far. And today I thought would be a good opportunity to do something that I haven't done in a little while. Something that I really haven't done very much of this off season. And I tend to try to keep it pretty Seahawks centric on this channel. I talk mostly just about the Seahawks, or if there's something that happens with another team that directly and clearly impacts the Seahawks, I'll talk about that. But of course, I'm always paying attention to other stuff as well, and I'm very much aware of the fact that what happens to certain other teams out in the NFL does affect the Seahawks, even if it's not direct. So, with all that being said, I thought today would be a pretty good opportunity to talk a little bit about our division rivals and what we might be looking at going into the 2023 season from them. And I don't have anything radical or contrarian or shocking to say about these teams, but we should take at least a little bit of time to talk about what we are dealing with within our division with these Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers. And last year, the division was pretty bad. We had one really good team in the division, and then the other two teams, the other two division rivals, were some of the worst teams in the league, which was a nice break after dealing with the season the previous year where the other three teams in the division all made the playoffs. So that was kind of nice. One thing throughout the Russell Wilson era was that we frequently had to deal with having really good teams within our division that we had to compete with. That was one reason why we didn't win as many division titles as a lot of people would have expected us to win, given how consistently good we were in that era. So if we could get a little bit of a run here where the other teams in our division aren't breathing down our necks or pushing past us or making life really hard for us, that would be great. So let's just spend a few minutes talking about each team in this division. I'll go ahead and go in kind of ascending order from what I view is worst to best. I don't think there's going to be any tremendous amounts of shock of the order that I have, but let's start with the Rams. I did talk about them a little bit yesterday because I made that video about Cooper Kupp and the impact that his injury could have on that Week 1 game in particular. But now let's take the opportunity to speak a little more broadly about this team that is basically stripping down, it seems like, as much as possible for future years. Like, you take a look at this Rams team, and the thing that really stands out is how little they did to acquire quality pieces for this season, this upcoming season. They did very little to improve the 2023 team. They let players go, they had players leave, and they didn't do a lot to replace them. A lot of the guys they got to replace people are low level players, and then everybody else is just a rookie. So it seems to me to be a bit of a concession that this year's team is not going to be that good, and they're going to live with that. If you look at the Rams depth chart on defense, especially, it's Aaron Donald and a bunch of guys that a decent chunk of NFL fans have never even heard of. So it's hard out there right now for these Rams to. Obviously, there are financial reasons why they can't. They just paid a ton of money to Matt Stafford, and they don't even know if he can really play football effectively anymore. We'll have to see about that. They're kind of forced into it. But you take a look at this Rams depth chart, and I see a team that, like I said yesterday, is more dependent on their superstars than any other team in the league because the drop off after you get through their superstars is massive. They have so many starting positions and key depth positions filled by guys who just haven't really done anything in this league yet. Like, you look at this offense, and you could kind of galaxy brain your way into thinking that this offense might be all right. They do have Stafford back for now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but he is back for now. Cam Akers did put together a few good games at the end of the season last year. If Cooper Kupp plays, he's one of the best receivers in the league. The offensive line actually isn't the worst. They've got some guys up front that I think are respectable. Brian Allen and Rob Havenstein. And Steve Avila was a one of the top guard rookies this year. I think he actually was the top guard who was drafted other than Skoronski. And they still got Higbee. They got some interesting stuff happening at receiver. Like, this offense may not be this offense shouldn't be as bad as it was last year, although it's still pretty lacking. It's not, by no means is this offensive line great. Joseph Noteboom is a very mediocre left tackle. They've got a rookie starting at left guard. There's some interesting promise in this area, but you take a look at this defense, and like I said, they've got Aaron Donald, and then who's their second best player on defense after Aaron Donald? And I'm not even sitting here saying Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the league anymore. I don't believe that. But is Kobe Durant their second best player? Is it Kobe Turner? Is it. I don't even know. Like, they lose Leonard Floyd, they lose Taylor Rapp, they lose Ashawn Robinson, they lose Greg Gaines. It's a really rough roster. So that should be a team that we can count on to be really bad this year, I think. And the Cardinals, I think, are in the same boat. Now, the difference is, of course, the Rams have at least a very credible coach in Sean McVay. The Cardinals, we don't know about yet. They got Jonathan Gannon, and honestly, I think a lot of people are pretty down on Jonathan Gannon at the moment because of last year's Super Bowl and just the fact that he had a ridiculous amount of talent to work with in Philadelphia. So now he comes over the Cardinals, and it's going to be, you would think it would be a pretty tough fight for the Rams and Cardinals at the bottom of the division. That's the plan, anyway. That's got to be the expectation for most people. Even though the Rams have a little bit of an advantage at the coaching position, I do like the Cardinals roster just a little bit more, and it's not like McVay was able to save that team from being really bad last year. And this year, honestly, I know they were struck by injuries last year. They might be worse in terms of their roster. You look at the Cardinals, I'm a little more optimistic about their future than I am the Rams, but as of right now, it sounds like Colt McCoy and David Blau are going to fight for the starting QB job. So you've got you can't even call Colt McCoy a has-been. He's, even at his peak, he was a good backup, and now he's well past that. And then David Blau is David Blau. And they've lost quite a bit at receiver, although that's not going to matter as much in the new offense probably. The new offense is probably going to be putting receivers on the field a little bit less. Although they do have a slew of guys at the receiver spots that I do think are interesting. They've got nice stuff going at the tackle positions. I'm not a big fan of their interior offensive line. I think that's going to be a little bit rough. But like the Rams, you turn the page to their defense, and you're just looking for the promise. You're just looking for the depth. You're looking for the talent. Like, they've got Buda Baker. Buda Baker is a really good safety. We know that. But then after that, the two best things about the Cardinals last year were probably J.J. Watt and Zach Allen, and they're both gone now. Like, their defensive line is... Zaven Collins was a first-round pick not that long ago, I suppose, but these are not high-profile guys. L.J. Collier is actually right now considered to be one of their top depth guys off the bench. B.J. Ojulari is a guy that I like quite a bit. I like Owen Popoe as a depth guy, but they're rookies. Yeah, they're both rookies, actually. And they've lost stuff at cornerback. They lost... God, who was their top cornerback last year? God, I can't even remember his name now. He was the guy who played nickel and then slid to the outside in base. Shoot, you guys know who I'm talking about, though. They lost him. Isaiah Simmons. I don't even know what he is at this point in his career. They have him listed at cornerback here, for God's sake. So it is a bit of a mess here too. If I had to pick, I would say the Cardinals are going to be. Oh, Murphy, Byron Murphy, by the way, that's the name. If I had to pick one team, I guess I would say the Cardinals, because the Cardinals will probably get Kyler Murray back at some point this season, but it's very close. It could go either way, and I feel like both teams are in a very similar spot. You just look at these defensive depth charts, and it's really hard to find guys that you think are even going to be average. Unfortunately, after all that, we have to talk about the 49ers, and this is, of course, the team that I think most people expect to win the division this year, and I do agree with that. I think that's a very fair assessment. I don't have anything radical to say about this team. Obviously, the quarterback position is a little bit of a crap show. I've been following the quarterback battle in San Fran for a little bit. Nobody's really separating themselves. Brock Purdy doesn't look like he's physically there. Trey Lance just looks like a mechanical mess. Darnold actually might look like the best of all of them, but And they're giving Brandon Allen significant reps, which is bizarre. Like he actually has a chance to win the starting job. Yeah, right. But I've said it before. I don't think the quarterback matters that much as long as you have a guy who does what he's told. Like it's not that hard to play quarterback well for this 49ers offense. You look at this 49ers offense. Yeah, they're very likely going to miss Christian McCaffrey for some games this year because he's due an injury, but they can replace him for at least a few games. They've still got one of the better 1-2 punches at receiver. I know Debo's coming off a bad year, but he's a good player. They still got Kittle. They do have some holes on that offensive line. Like after Trent Williams, it becomes pretty rough on that offensive line. Their interior not really playing that well. Their right tackle spot, they didn't really do anything to replace the loss of McGlinchey. But I feel like we've been through this before, and typically Shanahan finds a way. Kyle Shanahan finds a way to get this offense humming to where they're maybe not one of the best offenses, but they're up there. They're above average. They're a good offense. They score enough to win. And to me, to me anyway, this is the best defense in football. To me, the Niners have the best defense in football. They added Hargrave. I know they lost a couple of things. They lost, I think, Ebukam. They lost a little bit in their secondary, but they still got Bosa. I'm sure he's going to sign an extension. Still got Armstead. Still got the best linebackers in the league. Still got a not a great secondary. Like Hufunga's a fun, interesting player. It's not a great secondary, admittedly, but they find ways. Now I know they lost um, their defensive coordinator to Houston. Man, I'm bad with names today. It'll come to me right after I'm done with this video, but I don't know how big a deal that's going to be. So to me, this is the best defense in the league. And because of that, it's hard for me to imagine the Niners not winning the division. Like, you do the math. You just do the math of team versus team. Seahawks versus Niners, our offense will probably be better than the Niners. I think our offense is going to be a top 5, top 6 offense. But I don't think the Niners are going to be that far behind. Yes, they are going to be held back by the offensive line a little bit and the quarterback a little bit, but they can make up for that. They're still probably going to be around 10 or 11. Not that different. And then their defense, I expect to be 1 or 2. And the Seahawks defense, I don't even know if I see it in the top 15. So you just do the math like that. You just put it together. You just put the equation together, and it becomes very hard to imagine us being better than the Niners as of right now. So if I had to make some predictions here, I would say the Rams win 4 games. So I'm going to go 4-13. I'm going to say the Cardinals go 5-12. I think they win 1 more. It's tight, though. They could be another 4-win team as well. And I'm going to say the 49ers win 12 games. I'm going to say they go 12-5. That would be my predictions right now. Let me know what you guys think. That's how I see things in this division right now. It's not a bloodbath. Honestly, and I know it's kind of silly to... I know you shouldn't be saying things like this in general. We have an opportunity to farm 4 fairly easy wins in this division, which we usually do not have. The Rams and Cardinals should both be bad enough to where you should feel confident about your ability to win both games against them. Point blank, period. Niners, not only are they probably better than you, it's not a very good matchup for you, so I'm going to continue to doubt this team's ability to match up with the Niners and beat them and outstrip them in the division until I actually see it happen. I don't believe this quarterback nonsense is enough to upset it. So we'll have to see, but I don't think they're way better than us. I don't. I don't think they're leaps and bounds better than us. I just think they're a little bit better than us. I think if our defense takes a step forward, which is always possible, then we're right there. And, strange things do happen in this league. What if Ayuk gets injured? What if Kittle gets injured? I mean, Kittle's been injured plenty in his career already. What if Trent Williams gets injured? I mean, things can happen, guys. So I'm excited to see what happens. It's a relatively soft division. It's certainly better. We're better off in this division than we are in most other divisions. I'll say that. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you got in the division. That's how I feel about things going into this preseason. First preseason game tonight. Hawks Nest stream tonight as well. Hope to see you guys there. Here we go, people. We are almost there.